Hello, welcome to a new video on arc length and area of a sector. First, we're going to talk about arc length. Arc length is the distance around part of a circle, or the arc. So how long is this? Not how many degrees is an arc measure, but how long is it? So a full circle always has a measure of 360 degrees around its arc, regardless of its size. We can think of circumference as the length of the arc around a full circle. The length of the arc around a full circle will be different depending on the size of the circle. Okay, so it won't be just 360 degrees all the time, but how long is it, or how long is this? Okay, so an example, into the circle, if AB is 5, and the measure of arc BFB, all the way, the whole circle is 360. But the exact length of BFB equals the circumference, which is 2 pi r, and our r is 5, so 2 times pi times 5 is 10 pi, and we're talking centimeters because we had our 5 centimeters up here. And this is the length of arc BFB, okay, the whole circumference. So what if the arc doesn't go all the way around the circle? What if it only goes 1/4 of a way around the circle? So we find the measure of arc ED, which is in degrees. So the measure of this arc is 90 degrees because it is 1/4 of 360. So now to find the exact circumference of the circle, we know the circumference is 2 pi r, and so that is 2 times pi times 24, which is our radius, which is 48 pi centimeters. So now when we find the exact length of arc ED, just this length, we're just going to do 1/4 of 48 pi, which is 12 pi centimeters. So we're just going to multiply the fraction by the actual circumference of the circle. Okay, what arc has a measure of 180 degrees? Find the exact length of the arc of the radius is 24. Okay, so our circumference is 2 pi r, and we have 2 times pi times 24, which is 48 pi. Okay, so we want to know our arc is 180 degrees out of how many? Well, 360 is the whole thing. So this reduces to 1/2. But even if it didn't, we could still multiply 180 over 360 times 48 pi, because it's the same thing as multiplying 1/2 by the 48 pi, the circumference. And we get 24 pi centimeters. So what do you do to find the arc length when it wasn't the whole circumference? So it's a fractional part of the circumference. Okay, so we have, if we don't have the whole thing, we have a fractional part. We multiply that by our circumference. And to get the arc length. And so basically what we have here is the measure of the arc over 360 times 2 pi r. And this is our arc length formula. Sometimes it's easy to reduce our fractions, and sometimes it's just as easy just to leave it as the whole thing. So what fractional part of the whole circle are these following measures? Well, 120 is 120 out of 360 reduces to 1/3. So 120 is 1/3 of the circle. 270 out of 360 reduces to 3/4. 144 out of 360. This will reduce 12/30 equals 2/5. And 300 out of 360. 5/6. Okay, if the circles below have a radius of 48 millimeters, what would be the exact indicated arc lengths? Well, we're going to be multiplying the fraction by the circumference. And so all of these are going to have the same circumference since they all have the same radius. Let's just figure that out in advance. All right, so we have C is equal to 2 pi r. So 2 times pi times 48, so that's 96 pi millimeters is our circumference. Okay, so we are going to use that. So here, when we have 120, we already learned that that is 1/3 of the circle, so 1/3 times our 96 pi is going to give us 32 pi is the arc length, and that's in millimeters. Okay, so the length of arc CET going that way, we know that that's 270. And that is 3/4 of the way. So we have 3/4 times 96 pi, and that is 72 pi millimeters. Okay, the next one, we have 144 degrees. We know that that's 2/5. So 2/5 times 96 pi. Remember when we do fractions, we multiply straight across, so that is the same thing as 192 over 5, and that's with pi. And that cannot be reduced, so we could say it is about 38.4 pi. And then the last one more example, we know that 5/6 of the circle is JMH all the way around like this. And so 5/6 times 96 pi is 480 over 6 pi, which actually does reduce to 80 pi, and that's millimeters. All right, and that's it for arc length.